And so Randy came in and we didn't get to finish that actual conversation. But after we really got a chance to sit down and have conversations, we both agreed. Randy played both sides.
I need y'all to like the video, comment if you want, but turn your post notifications on so you know the next time I drop. Kittie, she finally came on and cleared the air. And it was interesting, but she really like brought all the receipts. I've always tried to, I never really knew that. I didn't know their names up until recently. You know, I knew Kittie's, I've heard her dialogue. I've reacted to some of her content, and I've always liked everything she had to say. To see the fallout, you know, that's kind of, you know, I don't like to see dysfunction, especially when it comes to the Black community, because it's not just a representation of them, but it's a representation of all of us. And so how we handle disagreements as a community is kind of embarrassing. You know, whatever's left of the community is kind of embarrassing. All right, let's get into this thing.
Hey, babies. I am going to go ahead and address some of the things that were said about me that you all keep asking me about. Please understand, I'm done with this conversation after that. I have real life things to worry about, and this drama stuff is not something that I want to actually put my time into. Okay. But first things first, the address situation. Since it's been told that I doxed or that I leaked Kita's address, let me just go ahead and have that conversation first.
There's 3 people involved. There's Kittie, Kita, and Randi. And a lot of what my suspicions were is it in the whole thing gets kind of substantiated in this video. All right, so she's about to break down how Randi was the one who actually leaked Kita's address and how Randi was basically playing both sides. But we're gonna get back to it.
Slash best friend, well, ex-assistant slash ex-best friend. The only reason why I asked her that to begin with is because me and Kita were in conversations. At this point, I had already cut Randi off. And at this point, me and Kita had already had a deep conversation. There was a lot.
So her and Randi had a falling out. I'm going to tell you why they had a falling out. Randi got jealous because everybody was, you know, pretty much Kittie was a star. You know what I mean? When you think about it, just the advice that she was giving, just the, you know, the insight and her perspective was so, you know, impactful that she stood out. And Randi didn't like that. Her perspective was she was undermining me with Ace and taking my spot. You know what I mean? So what she really does in this video is highlight Randi's personality. And I'm gonna tell you why this might come across more effectively than Kita's perspective and how she went about it. Kita seemed like she was very vindictive, and you could kind of get that in the way that she was handling things. Randi, just off of what she was saying, she went viral for something that she said, telling, you know, nerds to get over it. She already like got a bad taste in a lot of men's mouth. But Kittie, I got to get these names straight. She's explaining it in a way that isn't vindictive. She's just bringing the receipts and telling the truth like it is. And you could kind of like tell the difference between what the intent is behind each person. So we're going to keep this thing going. I know I keep stopping it, but I'm trying to spin you up so you know what it is and you ain't got to guess.
Things that came up in those conversations that confirmed that it was the right decision for me to cut Randi off. Now, Randi, because I'm sure you're going to see this video, you wanted to know why I cut you off. There was a conversation you had with me that rubbed me the wrong way. You were telling me about something that your stepson, your oldest son, your oldest stepson was going through. And I'm going to say bottles because you'll know what that conversation is. That conversation rubbed me the wrong way because I'm a stepmother and I'm a mother. And I tried to let it slide. But when Kita reached out to me that summer, and, you know, she was saying that she realized that I had unfollowed her and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, that's weird for her to reach out to me. I thought she wouldn't rock with me like that. Once I reached out to you and I asked you, and I'm going to make sure that I show that. As a matter of fact, let's make sure that we have that for a second. Once I asked you about that,
all the
you were
receipts
kind of standoffish. And I know you usually know a lot of things. That was, let's see, that was June 23rd. I sent you a screenshot of what Kita had sent to me. I said, hey, love, is there something going on? Kita texted me last night. I was trying to talk to her in person about the message. I noticed HY saw my stories after. I noticed pattern, but figured I'd ask you. She hasn't responded to my text or call. You said, oh, honey, I have no idea. You know I'm over here gardening. Did you unfollow her? I said, yes, ma'am. I told you. Lo saw her stories, and I figured it's why she texted me, too. I don't know. I just figured I'd ask because I was confused. You said, I'm hollering. I told you. Okay. I know you, and it's the same thing that your ex-assistant and your ex-best friend highlighted. You have a tendency to know when things are going on, but you will play your hand like you don't.
playing both sides.
And that's the reason why I reached out to you. And when you did that, I talked to my best friend. I said, something's off about that. Because any other time, if it was your drama, man, you would have been on that phone going back and forth in text, calling and all that. And I didn't like the energy. Okay, so that slides. We get past that. Me and Keita finally have a conversation. A lot of things came out in that conversation. You accused me of stealing your idea. You accused me of stealing a moment to excel from you. Let's talk about that for a second.
Here's the caveat to that, right? I was thinking about this before it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm getting familiar with this more than I would like to, but I am. Randi stole Ace's whole idea. Okay, and I was like, tonight's conversation, let's rant about it. I think that any business person is gonna learn from the best and then be able to recreate it. She took his idea, partnered up with Anton Daniels, and created Let's Rant About It. And she's doing the same formula that made him successful, which is a great business move. I think that that's strategic and a smart business move. I'm not, dismissing that. But the irony behind it is she was trying to complain about her ideas being stolen when she completely stole this man's whole format when it comes to doing these podcasts and talk shows. She even did the card game. Tonight's conversation has a card game that he was pushing, and he made a lot of money off of that. Smart businessman. I just thought the irony should be known that Randi has the audacity to feel a certain type of way about somebody stealing her ideas when all she did was steal somebody's idea, and it might have been the best idea she ever had in her life, to be honest with you. But we're gonna keep on going.
Now, for me to highlight another thing. Yep, let's see. This was, matter of fact, let me go to me and Natasha's thread.
Natasha's, I think, friends
I
with.
think it's gonna be on that phone. Yeah, I think it's gonna be on this one, but I'm gonna make sure I post it. I don't know the dates, but I will post it.
I think Natasha is friends with Keita because she had moved on from Randi to Keita and started explaining what happened between her and Keita.
I had a conversation prior to all of this shenanigans with Natasha, and I agreed to my same rate. I agreed to my same rate. You know why? Because I didn't want to lose the people who were still on the panel. Keita, that was your trip. I was willing to keep whatever number I needed to keep if it meant that y'all would get paid more. So for y'all to sit here and say, because I'm fine, I'm comfortable with the rate that I have. Me and my family are good. I'm not a greedy person at all. And quite frankly, I don't need it. But if you all wanted something extra, and if Ace was able to do it, I was willing to step back and say, hey, here, do what you can. Hence the reason why when me and him had a conversation, he showed me the P&L, Keita, and I told you that, but you wouldn't let me finish telling you. Let's see.
Oh, I know what I
wonder
need
if
to
that
do.
conversation is in here. Let's see. Nope, it'll be on that phone. But I did reach out to you, Keita, before all of this stuff blew up to just see exactly what it was that I did to you because I didn't know. And then I brought to your attention, it's because I asked about the other comedian woman that he was talking about bringing on. Now, mind you, you have threatened this man to not return multiple times. So I think at this point he formed a backup just in case.
Which is a smart business move.
Whenever you don't have your way, we already know how it goes. You throw a tantrum. You're doing it now. Whenever you don't have your way, you would throw a tantrum and you'll make demands. And I think at this point he got tired. For y'all to be talking about this whole situation as if y'all didn't have a hand in anything shows a lot. And only a simple-minded person couldn't see that. Who is it that would tell a story without taking accountability? Because Keita, I told you, when me and you had conversations, when we finally just got back cool and stuff and all that, when we had conversations, I told you, hey, when I had a different perception of you, I was talking crap about you. I know that you said the same thing. We squashed all that. One more thing to add before I get off. If I leaked your address, why would you be in my home? Just for anyone watching, separate the hate for 2.2 seconds. If I leaked your address, why would you be in my home? Not on one occasion, on multiple occasions, you've come with me.
Is that a BBL?
We went to the movies together. We hung out. I've invited you places. You've invited me places. Why would I do that? If I leaked your address, baby, you would have never known my stuff because you could have used it against me one day. You've been in my home. I don't get that. I asked you what the problem was. I figured that the main issue was the simple fact that maybe I asked Ace, hey, is this other comedic woman supposed to be coming on? And I talked to you about that because if she's coming on, the same conversation I had with him, what room does it make for Keita? It doesn't make sense. We have one person who's comedic relief and the other person that's comedic relief. And he said his hands were tied. Why? you had already started making your threats. You did the same thing in Dallas. The 3 p.m. show that you thought you were on, that you weren't on, you was talking about that. You kept talking about how you were going to be done. You were going to get on stage and say you were going to be done. And I told you not to do it. It was always me trying to tell you, I think it was me and your best friend, Mary, but always trying to make you have better reasoning in these situations because you'll let your emotions get the best of you. You're doing it now. If I was, honestly, baby, because I don't even hate you for the things that.
So she was basically breaking down what I was explaining about how Keita departed and how she's acting emotionally and not thinking about future endeavors that she could potentially have. The way you leave one situation is the way you'll leave any situation. It's going to make people not want to be able, pretty much not fuck with you for real because we see what you did. You tried to burn the whole house down on your way out the door. That's ridiculous. A lot of what she's explaining is what I already initially thought. I just didn't have the proof to back it, so I didn't want to say nothing out of turn because I didn't know these people. Just the whole action alone speaks to the character. And I said all this is doing, the reputation destruction that she's intending for Kittie is only making her look bad.
But honestly, baby, if I was still in your corner, all this that you're doing, I would have said, don't do that. Because one day you're going to regret it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
One day you are. All of this for what? You got a baby. Unless you just think that social media is going to be the play for the rest of your days.
Exactly.
But you never know. I would have told you not to do it the same way that I encouraged you and I told you at the Dallas show. Do not get on that stage and say that. In case you came back, you don't want to add that fuel and leave and let people run with speculation and stories where you couldn't come back on. But that's okay. If I were a person who had this big podcast that goes on tour and stuff like that, and I had 2 people who either ran guest off or kept up a lot of conflict or antagonized me and kept causing problems, I would have stopped working with them too.
Bad for business.
And just so y'all know what I'm referring to, I think maybe before both.
I'm gonna wait to get into that next part because I have another video on that because they beefing with Six the Goddess too. It gets crazy. I didn't even know about all this stuff. I just found this out with this video, but I want to double back. I really want y'all to see what she says, how Kittie gets super how Keita gets super upset. I remember I was watching her explain how somebody called her Kittie before, and she was like, I'm Keita. You know what I mean? Like, she's so exhausted and tired of hearing that. It's jealousy, pretty much. Catty jealousy. I thought that too. I'm like, man, she seemed a little, I don't know, a little jaded.
There was already an issue with me. And Keita, you know about this. In DC, I can't remember if this was August or September or what it was, but I know it was in 23, probably. 23, probably. Matter of fact, let's just go and find out when it was. It was August 27th of 23. All right. This is when the whole ordeal happened in DC. We'll talk about that. The whole ordeal in DC, I believe Ace called you my name by mistake. This is before we had even went on. I think this is probably when y'all were doing like the VIP session and stuff like that, because I know I had came in late.
See that right there, that pissed her off. Kittie is obviously outshining her without trying to, and she being humble about it. But they don't look at it like that. They too competitive and in their head that they don't even see what they doing wrong. And that right there, that set it off. But we're gonna keep this thing rolling.
The 27th, and it's confirmed because at 9:33 you wrote me. He called you the wrong name. I guess there was an ordeal before I had came on. I saw you and Kels talking. You were pretty upset. You said that you had helped him make $1 million. You weren't gonna help him make another $1 million. When I heard that, I said, hey, do y'all need a second to yourself? You said yes. I let y'all have that. August 27th at 2:05, I said, I'm going to watch your table. Had no idea it was about me. Had no idea the conflict was about me. I'm going to watch your table. This is at 2:05, August 27th, right? I had no idea. The only way that I found out was something was going on was when I wasn't able to be on the pods that I'm usually on. I think I was limited to the third pod. You didn't come on. Was it the first pod she didn't come on to, or you threw a full fit? It wasn't until Randi came and told me that you were upset about the wrong name being called. Yeah, I guess Ace had called you the wrong name and you said that he didn't take it serious or something like that. Randi had that conversation with me. Ace and his team was talking to me and my husband because I'm always the rational one, right? I'm always the one who's mature and I can make sense of stuff, right? But it wasn't fair because I was limited. And so after that, it was just a whirlwind of problems after that, because I felt like it wasn't just the name that was the issue. I felt like it was more than just a name, which then that's when Randi had told me that I made you feel dumb on stage and you said to Randi, I made you feel like you needed to read books or something like that. And I'm not being funny when I say that, because you told me the same exact thing on when we was at the park. As a matter of fact, when we had the conversation.
This is breaking down the whole jealousy that you could obviously see that Keita had for Kittie. Because when she first started introducing this stuff and like broke the whole thing, she was really trying to besmirch her name. And she was like, y'all favorite Kittie. And I'm like, yeah, that is my favorite. How she know? If there's talent or somebody's a star, why go against it? But they're so afraid of not having their spot that they're doing all kinds of things, emotionally reacting to try and claim their spot, and it was just a bad business move for Keita altogether. But I'm really glad that Kittie came out and pretty much clarified all this stuff.
And I told you didn't need that. You didn't need to do all of that. We all bring something to the conversation.
Rationally.
All of us do. You're the comedic perspective. You're the comedic relief. Brilliant.
Yeah, but she, I don't know, man. She wasn't that funny to me. I'm not trying to be a mean person, but she just wasn't that funny to me. So she didn't say, she was too serious to be a comedic, like a comedic relief. She just didn't come off as funny. I tried to look at it as funny, but it just never came off as funny to me. It came off as bitter.
That's exactly, you're funny. That's what you're supposed to be. I just think that all of this is funny. And if it's anything that I didn't mention, I'm going to be sure to post it all up in here.
She cleaned it all up.
But I warned you, Keita, even about Randi. I did. After the conversations with me and Ashley, and you and Ashley, after those conversations, I told you, you're going to have to protect yourself from that person. And that's why I say I find it funny that y'all clicked up on me, a mutual hate on me. For both of y'all, I never wanted a friendship to be formed off of no problems that we had with anybody.
That's because she was shining. I'm telling you, she was shining. Everything she was saying, her and Trip, everything that those two were saying, the masses was eating it up. It was real. You know what I mean? And it was said the right way. She was shining, and they didn't like that. And you could tell.
Everybody else. The conversation that we had, Keita, you and I, that we had, was it the second time in DC? And we didn't get to finish that conversation. That's when Randi had came in. Yeah. That's when Randi came in, and we didn't get to finish that actual conversation. But after we really got a chance to sit down and have conversations, we both agreed. Randi played both sides. She played both sides. She was in both of our ears. And we agreed, hey, let's just start this off fresh. Now, Ace's reason for him not being able to work with Randi, that's something that they'll have to bring up and discuss and stuff like that. The same thing as you and Ace, because I hear the things that y'all are saying about financial abuse and stuff like that. I didn't go through that. I think maybe before both of you all keep on talking about what as a matter of fact, what other people keep doing to you, maybe you should tell what your behavior was like on and off stage. Behind the scenes, what was your behavior like? What would be the reason why somebody will stop working with the both of you? But I made sure to insert it just so I can make sure that maybe you all can joggle some of y'all memory and make sure, and maybe it can help just the people watching better understand why you all are no longer there.
Entrepreneur. So that takes away from the fact that they're still.
They got money for food.
So, but that still takes away. That takes away from the fact that's why motherfuckers don't. That's why we don't like you, bro.
So
that's
I'm
why
so
we don't like
glad you said it, and it's noted.
Yeah, I just met you today. I didn't know who the fuck you were before we got here.
No,
It's
cussing at me.
It's the ignorance.
Cussing at me.
It's the ignorance and the lack of knowledge.
No, baby, this is what
that
kind of problem.
gets me.
You have no. You ain't got to cuss at me. You ain't got to be disrespectful. Have I disrespected you?
Yeah.
So you can do whatever you want, and then what? Then what happens? You do whatever you want. Then what's the next move?
Yeah.
You're not being very soft, Mama. You're yelling.
I have been respectful. I have been
So
respectful.
masculine.
I've
You're being
been
so
respectful
masculine.
towards you. Y'all poke the bear. Then when someone takes
Nobody pokes you, bitch. You came in here upset. Yeah, you came in here upset. The fuck? When I tried to say hi, then you had an issue because I stitched a video. It's social media. People get over it.
Welcome to tonight's conversations, motherfucker.
And that's season 4.
Y'all.
Now I'm a hoe, but you can't be a bitch. You a hoe ass bitch. I beat her ass. She's been disrespectful since I walked through the fucking door.
Yeah, no.
Just because she doesn't understand shit is not my problem.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to baby the bitch. I don't care about her.
Y'all.
Who the fuck is she?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
We represent everybody here.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
No, listen.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
ain't just no.
You want me to apologize to the bitch? I will.
You can see one side, but there's always two sides to every story, and they're just bad for business. You have to think about it from a business perspective. Ace is trying to grow this company. He's trying to grow this show. He's bringing on prominent guests and creating these relationships. And what they're doing is they're running guests off. And then the show transitions from being a discussion to it being a heated back and forth between Six the Goddess and those two. And they're basically just destroying his show with no regard to everybody that is there, all the money that's been put up, you know, just that type of thing, and running guests off. It would be a smart business move to not continue to do business with those type of people. Anton is a strong, smart businessman, but I do see that he makes it known that that's her show and he's just there to assist. Now, I don't know what he foresees in that relationship, but just based off of her own behavior, that don't seem like a smart business move to me. But Anton is his own man. He knows more business than I do. He's definitely richer than I am. You know what I mean? So there may be a genius play behind this that I ain't seeing yet, but you know, we'll see what happens. And if anything does happen behind the scenes, I don't foresee Anton being the type of person to go and air that business out unless he's absolutely forced to, which would be interesting. I need y'all to like the video, comment if you want, but turn your post notifications on so you know the next time I drop.